If you can't stand up to her now, Evan, what happens when it's our lives she's controlling? My voice trembles, a mix of anger and desperation I can't quite hide. Evan's eyes dart between me and his mother, Marjorie, who stands in our living room like she owns the place. Her perfectly coiffed hair and designer outfit scream, "I'm better than you." And I hate how small it makes me feel. "Lydia, darling," Marjorie's saccharine voice grates on my nerves. "I'm only trying to help. The Andersons and the Wilsons are pillars of the community. Having them at the wedding would be a tremendous boost for Evan's career." I clench my fists, nails digging into my palms. This isn't about Evan's career, it's our wedding, not a networking event. Evan shifts uncomfortably. "Mom, we've already finalized the guest list. It's a bit late to make changes." Marjorie waves her hand dismissively. "Nonsense. I'll take care of everything. You two don't need to worry about a thing." "That's exactly what I'm worried about," I mutter. "My name is Lydia, and I'm about to lose control of my own wedding." Marjorie continues, oblivious to the tension. "Now, we'll need to move some people around. Perhaps we could seat your grandfather at the back. He won't mind, I'm sure." "Absolutely not," I snap. "Grandpa Frank is sitting at the head table with us." Marjorie's eyes narrow. "Lydia, dear, you need to think about the bigger picture. Your grandfather is quaint, but he doesn't quite fit the image we're trying to project." I feel something snap inside me. The image we're trying to project? This isn't a corporate event, Marjorie. It's our wedding day. Evan steps between us, hands raised. "Ladies, please, can't we discuss this calmly?" I turn to him, disbelief etched on my face. "Calmly? Your mother just walked in here and demanded we change our entire guest list to suit her social climbing agenda, and you're asking me to be calm?" Marjorie's lips purse. "I'm only thinking of your future, Evan. The connections you make now could set you up for life. At the cost of what? I challenge. Our happiness? Our ability to make our own decisions?" Evan's gaze drops to the floor. "Lydia, maybe we should consider..." "Consider what?" I interrupt. "Letting your mother dictate every aspect of our lives? Where does it end, Evan?" Marjorie steps forward, her voice sickly sweet. "Lydia, I know this is overwhelming for you. Planning a wedding of this caliber is no small feat. Why don't you let me handle the details? You can focus on looking pretty for the photos." I feel the blood drain from my face. "Get out." "Excuse me?" Marjorie blinks, genuinely surprised. "Get outside of my house." I enunciate each word carefully, my whole body shaking. Evan reaches for me. "Lydia, come on, let's not." I jerk away from his touch. "Number, and if you can't see what's happening here, then maybe you should leave too." Marjorie's shock morphs into a smug smile. Now let's not be hasty. "Evan, darling, why don't we give Lydia some time to calm down? We can discuss this later when she's thinking more rationally." As they gather their things to leave, a cold realization washes over me. This isn't just about the wedding. It's about my future, my autonomy, my very identity. If I don't take a stand now, I'll be fighting this battle for the rest of my life. The door closes behind them, and I'm left alone in the sudden silence. My mind races, plans already forming. If Marjorie wants a war, she's got one, and I know exactly where to start. I reach for my phone, scrolling to a familiar number. "Grandpa Frank, it's Lydia. We need to talk." I pace the living room, phone pressed to my ear, waiting for Grandpa Frank to pick up. Each ring feels like an eternity. "Hello, sweetheart." His warm voice finally comes through. "What's got you calling so late?" I take a deep breath. "Grandpa, I need your help. It's about the wedding." As I explain Marjorie's latest power play and my plan to counter it, Grandpa Frank listens patiently. When I finish, there's a moment of silence. "You're sure about this, Lydia?" he asks, his tone serious. "Removing family from the guest list is a big step." "I know," I reply, my voice cracking. "But I have to do something. If I don't stand up to her now, it'll never end." Grandpa Frank sighs. "I understand, honey, and I'm with you. Whatever you decide. If you need me to step back, I will." His unwavering support brings tears to my eyes. "Thank you, Grandpa. I promise I'll make this right." After hanging up, I sit at the dining table staring at the guest list spread out before me. With a heavy heart, I begin crossing off names: Grandpa Frank, Aunt Maggie, my cousins. Each stroke of the pen feels like a small betrayal, but I steel myself against the guilt. The front door opens and Evan walks in, looking exhausted. "Lydia, what are you still doing up?" I meet his gaze, chin raised. I'm revising the guest list. His eyes widen as he sees the crossed-out names. "What? Why are you removing your family?" "Because your mother made it clear they don't fit her vision," I say, my voice steady. "So, I'm giving her what she wants." Evan runs a hand through his hair. "Lydia, come on. This isn't the answer." "Then what is?" I challenge. "You saw how she acted earlier. She won't stop unless we make her see the consequences of her actions." He sits across from me, conflict clear on his face. "I know my mom can be difficult, but she means well." I laugh bitterly. "Means well, Evan? She's trying to control every aspect of our lives, and you're letting her." "That's not fair," he protests. "I'm caught in the middle here." "No, you're not," I say, standing up. "You're choosing to be in the middle. At some point, you have to decide who you're going to prioritize, your mother or your future wife." Evan reaches for my hand, but I pull away. "Lydia, please, let's talk about this." I shake my head. "I'm done talking. It's time for action. I'm sending this revised list to the wedding planner in the morning." As I head to bed, leaving Evan at the table, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Colleen. "Heard about the drama with Marjorie. Need backup?" I smile, feeling a glimmer of hope. Maybe I'm not as alone in this as I thought. The next morning, I wake early, determined to set my plan in motion. I email the new guest list to our wedding planner before I can second-guess myself. As I'm making coffee, Evan emerges from the guest room, looking like he barely slept. "Lydia, can we please talk about this?" I pour 2 cups, sliding one toward him. "There's nothing to talk about. The list has been sent." His face pales. "You didn't?" "I did," I confirm. "Ball's in your mother's court now." Evan's phone starts ringing. We both know who it is before he even looks at the screen. "You should answer that," I say, grabbing my bag. "I'm sure your mother has a lot to say." As I head out the door, I hear Evan's tentative, "Hello?" followed by Marjorie's shrill voice. I take a deep breath, steeling myself for the storm that's about to hit. But for the first time since this whole ordeal began, I feel a sense of control. Marjorie wanted to play games with our wedding. Fine. But she's about to learn that I'm not just a pawn in her social chess match. I'm the queen, and I'm ready to fight for my crown. I'm barely through the door of our favorite coffee shop when my phone explodes with notifications. Marjorie has discovered the revised guest list, and she's on the warpath. "Lydia Harper!" Her shrill voice pierces through the speaker. "What have you done?" I take a deep breath, steadying myself. "Hello, Marjorie. I see you got the updated list." "Updated? You've gutted it? How dare you remove your own family?" "I'm simply following your lead," I reply, keeping my voice steady. "You made it clear my relatives weren't up to your standards." There's a moment of stunned silence before Marjorie erupts again. "This is unacceptable. You're being childish and selfish. Do you have any idea how this makes us look?" "Us?" I can't help but laugh. "Marjorie, this isn't about you. It's my wedding." "It's Evan's wedding too," she snaps. "And you're embarrassing him with these antics." The barista calls my name and I grab my latte. If Evan has a problem, he can talk to me himself. Goodbye, Marjorie. I hang up, my hands shaking slightly as I take a sip of coffee. It's not long before my phone buzzes again. This time, it's Evan. "Lydia, what's going on?" He sounds stressed. "My mom's losing it." "I told you what I was going to do," I remind him. "This shouldn't be a surprise." Evan sighs heavily. "I know, but removing your whole family, don't you think that's a bit extreme?" I feel a flare of anger. "Extreme, Evan? Your mother is trying to turn our wedding into her personal networking event. She insulted my grandfather. What did you expect me to do?" "I don't know," he admits. "But this feels like it's spiraling out of control." "Then do something about it," I challenge. "Talk to your mother, make her understand that this is our day, not hers." There's a long pause. I'll try," Evan says finally. Just please don't do anything drastic until we can all sit down and talk, okay? I agree, but as I hang up, I can't shake the feeling that Evan still doesn't fully grasp the situation. My phone pings with a text from Colleen. Heard Marjorie's on the rampage. You okay? I smile, grateful for the support. Hanging in there, thanks for checking in. As I leave the coffee shop, I spot a familiar face across the street, Aunt Maggie. She waves, crossing over to me. Lydia, honey, she says, concern etched on her face. I just got off the phone with your grandfather. What's this about us not being invited to the wedding anymore? I feel a pang of guilt. It's complicated, Aunt Maggie. I'm trying to make a point. She takes my arm, guiding me to a nearby bench. Explain it to me then. As we sit, I pour out the whole story. Marjorie's demands, Evan's indecision, my desperate counter-move. Aunt Maggie listens intently, her brow furrowed. Oh, sweetie, she says when I finish. I understand why you did it, but this isn't the way. Then what is? I ask, frustration creeping into my voice. I've tried talking. I've tried compromising. Nothing works with Marjorie. Aunt Maggie squeezes my hand. Fighting fire with fire might feel good in the moment, but it rarely solves anything. You need to rise above her pettiness, not sink to her level. I know she's right, but the thought of backing down now makes my stomach churn. I can't let her win, Aunt Maggie. I just can't. This isn't about winning or losing, Lydia. It's about starting your marriage on the right foot. And right now, you're letting Marjorie dictate your actions just as much as she's trying to dictate your wedding. Her words hit me like a splash of cold water. Have I really become so focused on beating Marjorie that I've lost sight of what's truly important? As if on cue, my phone buzzes with another call from Evan. I look at Aunt Maggie, suddenly unsure. She nods encouragingly. Answer it. Remember, he's caught in the middle of this too. Try to hear him out. I take a deep breath and answer the call, Aunt Maggie's words echoing in my mind. Maybe it's time for a different approach, one that doesn't involve playing Marjorie's game at all. I never thought I'd find myself hiding in a bathroom stall at my own engagement party, but here I am, trying to catch my breath and calm my racing heart. The muffled sounds of laughter and clinking glasses filter through the door, a stark contrast to the turmoil inside me. It had started as a lovely evening. Evan and I arrived at the country club hand in hand, ready to celebrate our upcoming nuptials with friends and family. Even Marjorie seemed to be on her best behavior, greeting guests with a plastered-on smile. But then I overheard it, a conversation that shattered the illusion of peace. Poor Evan, a woman's voice had said, dripping with false sympathy. Marjorie tells me his fiancé is quite the handful. Apparently, she's been making all sorts of unreasonable demands about the wedding. Another voice chimed in. Oh, I know. Did you hear about the guest list drama? Marjorie says the girl actually uninvited her own family out of spite. Can you imagine? My cheeks burned with anger and embarrassment. I was about to confront them when I heard a familiar voice that stopped me cold. Mom, please. Evan pleaded quietly. Can we not do this tonight? Marjorie's reply was swift and sharp. I'm only trying to protect you, darling. You need to understand what you're getting yourself into with this girl. There's still time to reconsider. I waited, heart pounding, for Evan's response, but all I heard was a heavy sigh. That's when I fled to the bathroom, unable to face the room full of people who were probably all gossiping about me. A gentle knock on the stall door startles me out of my thoughts. Lydia, are you in there? It's Colleen. I unlock the door, wiping at my eyes. Colleen takes one look at me and pulls me into a hug. I heard what happened, she says softly. Those old biddies have no right to talk about you like that. I pull back, anger flaring again. It's not just them, it's Marjorie. She's been spreading lies about me, turning everyone against me. My voice breaks. And Evan? He didn't even defend me. Colleen's eyes narrow. That spineless little, want me to go give him a piece of my mind? Despite everything, I can't help but laugh. No, but thanks. I need to handle this myself. He nods, squeezing my hand. Well, whatever you decide to do, I've got your back. We all do. Me, Grandpa Frank, Aunt Maggie. Don't let Marjorie make you think you're alone in this. Her words bolster my resolve. I take a deep breath, straightening my dress. You're right. I'm done hiding. It's time to set the record straight. As we exit the bathroom, I spot Evan across the room, looking anxious. Our eyes meet and I see a flicker of guilt cross his face. Good. He should feel guilty. I make my way toward him, determination in every step. Marjorie, noticing my approach, swoops in like a vulture. "Lydia, dear," she coos, loud enough for nearby guests to hear. "Are you feeling all right? You look a bit overwhelmed. Perhaps you should go home and rest." I feel every eye in the room on us. This is it, the moment to stand my ground or let Marjorie win. I plaster on my sweetest smile. "Actually, Marjorie, I'm feeling great. In fact, I'd love to address all our guests. After all, isn't that what this party is for? To celebrate Evan and me?" Before she can object, I grab a nearby champagne glass and a spoon, clinking them together to get everyone's attention. "Ladies and gentlemen," I begin, my voice steady despite my racing heart. "I want to thank you all for coming tonight. It means so much to have you here to celebrate our love." I pause, meeting Marjorie's icy glare. "And since we're all friends and family here, I think it's time we clear the air about a few things." The room falls silent. Evan looks panicked while Marjorie's face turns an interesting shade of red, but I'm beyond caring. It's time for the truth to come out, consequences be damned. As I open my mouth to continue, I realize this is about more than just the wedding now. It's about my future, my self-respect, and the kind of life I want to build with Evan. If he's brave enough to stand with me, the next words out of my mouth will change everything. And I'm ready for it. The aftermath of the engagement party hangs over me like a storm cloud as I sit in Aunt Maggie's cozy kitchen. The scent of freshly brewed coffee fills the air. A stark contrast to the way I feel. "I still can't believe I did that," I murmur, cradling my mug. Aunt Maggie reaches across the table, squeezing my hand. "You did what you had to do, Lydia." It was time someone stood up to Marjorie. I nod, remembering the shocked faces as I laid bare all of Marjorie's manipulations at the party. The whispers, the pointed looks, Marjorie's face turning an alarming shade of purple. It had been both terrifying and exhilarating. "But what if I've made things worse?" I ask, voicing my deepest fear. Evan barely said 2 words to me afterward. Aunt Maggie's eyes soften. "Give him time, honey. He's been under his mother's thumb for so long. It'll take a while for him to find his footing." As if on cue, my phone buzzes. It's a text from Evan. "Can we talk?" "I'll be home in an hour." I show Aunt Maggie the message, my stomach churning. What if he wants to call off the wedding? Then that's his loss, she says firmly. But I don't think that's the case. "I saw his face when you were speaking at the party. He looked proud." Her words give me a glimmer of hope. I finish my coffee and stand, feeling more resolved. "Thanks, Maggie. I don't know what I'd do without you." As I'm leaving, she calls out, "Remember, Lydia, you're not alone in this. We're all behind you." I drive home, my mind racing with possible scenarios for my conversation with Evan. When I arrive, I'm surprised to see Colleen's car in the driveway. Inside, I find her pacing the living room. "There you are," she exclaims. "I've been trying to reach you." "Sorry, I was at Aunt Maggie's. What's going on?" Colleen's eyes flash with anger. "Marjorie's on the warpath. She's been calling everyone, trying to do damage control after your little speech. She's even threatening to pull her financial support for the wedding." My heart sinks. We've been counting on Marjorie's contribution to cover a significant portion of the expenses. "She can't do that, can she?" "Oh, she can," Colleen says grimly. "But here's the thing. I've got an idea." She outlines her plan and I feel a mix of excitement and trepidation. It's bold, potentially risky, but it might just work. "You're sure about this?" I ask. Colleen grins. "Absolutely. It's time we fight fire with fire. Marjorie wants to play dirty? Let's show her we can play that game too." Just then, we hear the front door open. Evan walks in, looking tired but determined. He stops short when he sees Colleen. "Oh, hi," he says awkwardly. "I didn't realize you had company." Colleen gives me a pointed look. "I was just leaving. You two have a lot to talk about." She squeezes my arm as she passes. "Remember what I said? I've got your back." As the door closes behind her, Evan and I are left in tense silence. He runs a hand through his hair, a nervous habit I've come to recognize. "Lydia, about the party," he begins. I brace myself, ready for whatever comes next. But to my surprise, Evan's next words aren't what I expected at all. "I'm sorry," he says, his voice thick with emotion. "I'm sorry I didn't stand up for you sooner. I'm sorry I let my mother control everything, and I'm sorry I made you feel like you had to face this alone. Relief washes over me, followed quickly by a surge of love for this man who's finally finding his voice. Oh, Evan, I breathe, stepping closer to him. He takes my hands in his. I want you to know I'm with you. Whatever happens next, whatever my mother tries to do, I'm on your side. Our side. I feel tears prick my eyes. Even if she pulls her support for the wedding, Evan's jaw sets in determination. Even then, we'll figure it out together. As we embrace, I feel a shift in the air. The battle isn't over, not by a long shot, but for the first time, I truly feel like Evan and I are a united front. Little does Marjorie know, her actions haven't just brought Evan and me closer together. They've also set in motion a plan that might just turn the tables on her once and for all. The morning of my wedding day dawns bright and clear, a stark contrast to the storm of emotions swirling inside me. I stand before the mirror in my childhood bedroom, my white gown a beacon of hope amidst the chaos of the past few months. You look beautiful, sweetheart, Aunt Maggie says, adjusting my veil. Her eyes meet mine in the reflection. Are you ready for this? I take a deep breath. As ready as I'll ever be. The door bursts open and Colleen rushes in, her bridesmaid dress slightly askew. We've got a problem, she announces, her face flushed. Marjorie is here. My heart sinks. Despite our best efforts to keep the wedding location secret, Marjorie has found us. I should have known she wouldn't give up so easily. What's she doing? I ask, dreading the answer. Colleen's eyes flash with anger. She's trying to convince the caterers not to serve the food, says there's been a change of plans. I clench my fists, feeling the familiar rage bubbling up, but then I catch sight of myself in the mirror, radiant, determined. A far cry from the woman who once cowered under Marjorie's influence. Not this time, I say, my voice steady. I've got this. I sweep past Colleen and Aunt Maggie, my dress rustling as I make my way downstairs. I can hear Marjorie's shrill voice before I see her, berating the poor catering staff. I'm telling you, this wedding is cancelled. You need to pack up and leave immediately. I round the corner, my presence silencing the room. Marjorie turns, her eyes widening as she takes in my appearance. Lydia, she says, recovering quickly. I see you're still going through with this farce. I smile, feeling a calm settle over me. The only farce here, Marjorie, is your attempt to ruin our day. She steps closer, her voice low and menacing. You've turned my son against me. You've humiliated me in front of my friends. Did you really think I'd let you get away with that? No, I reply, matching her tone. I expected you to fight dirty. That's why I came prepared. On cue, the front door opens and a stream of guests begins to file in. But these aren't just any guests. They're Marjorie's high society friends, the very people she's been so desperate to impress. Marjorie's face pales as she recognizes them. What? How? I lean in, savoring the moment. You're not the only one who can play this game, Marjorie. While you were busy trying to sabotage us, we were making some calls of our own. Turns out a lot of your friends are tired of your manipulations too. As if to prove my point, one of Marjorie's closest friends approaches. Marjorie, dear, she says, her voice dripping with false sweetness. What a surprise to see you here. I thought you said you wouldn't be attending. Marjorie sputters, caught in her own web of lies. More of her friends gather around, their whispers growing louder, their disapproving glances more pointed. I turn to the caterers. Please continue with your preparations. The wedding is most definitely on. As they scurry away relieved, I face Marjorie once more. You have two choices, I tell her. You can leave now and salvage what's left of your reputation, or you can stay and watch your son marry the woman he loves. Either way, your days of controlling this family are over. For a moment, I think she might lash out, but then her shoulders slump, the fight draining out of her. Without a word, she turns and walks away, her friends parting to let her pass. As the door closes behind her, I feel a hand on my shoulder. It's Evan, looking dashing in his tuxedo, his eyes shining with pride and love. That was incredible, he says, pulling me close. I'm sorry I ever doubted you. I lean into his embrace, feeling the last of my tension melt away. We did it together, I remind him. That's what matters. As we turn to greet our guests, I catch sight of Grandpa Frank giving me a thumbs up from across the room. Aunt Maggie and Colleen are beaming, and even Marjorie's friends seem genuinely happy to be here. In this moment, surrounded by love and support, I realize that we've won more than just a battle against Marjorie. We've set the foundation for our future, one built on mutual respect, unwavering support, and the strength to stand up for what's right. As Evan and I make our way to the altar, I know that whatever challenges lie ahead, we'll face them together, and that's a victory worth celebrating. The reception is in full swing, laughter and music filling the air, but there's an undercurrent of tension I can't shake. Evan and I exchange glances across the room, both knowing what we have to do. It's time for the final confrontation with Marjorie. We find her sitting alone at a corner table, nursing a glass of champagne. Her usual poise is gone, replaced by a defeated slump of her shoulders. As we approach, she looks up, her eyes red-rimmed. "Come to gloat?" she asks bitterly. I take a deep breath, reminding myself of all we've been through. "No, Marjorie. We've come to talk." Evan pulls out a chair for me before sitting down himself. "Mom, this has to stop," he says, his voice firm but kind. "We can't go on like this." Marjorie's lip curls. "Like what?" "With you two ganging up on me, turning everyone against me." "That's not what this is about," I interject. "It's about boundaries, respect, and family." "Family?" Marjorie scoffs. "You've done nothing but tear this family apart since you arrived, Lydia." I feel my temper flare, but Evan squeezes my hand under the table, grounding me. "Mom," he says, "Lydia is my family now, my wife. And if you want to be part of our lives, things need to change." Marjorie's eyes widen, a flicker of fear crossing her face. "What are you saying?" "We're saying," I continue, "that we want you in our lives, but not like this. Not with the manipulation, the control, the constant criticism." "We love you, Mom," Evan adds, his voice thick with emotion. "But we can't let you dictate our lives anymore." Marjorie's facade cracks, tears welling in her eyes. I only wanted what was best for you, Evan. For both of you." "We know," I say softly. "But you have to trust us to make our own decisions, our own mistakes. That's how we grow." "And if I can't?" Marjorie whispers, vulnerability etched on her face. Evan takes a deep breath. "Then we'll have to limit our contact, set firm boundaries. It's not what we want, but we'll do it if we have to." The weight of his words hangs in the air. Marjorie looks between us, realization dawning in her eyes. For the first time, I see her not as the formidable adversary she's been, but as a woman afraid of losing her place in her son's life. I don't know how to be any different," she admits, her voice barely audible. I reach across the table, taking her hand. "You can learn. We can help you. But you have to want to change." Marjorie nods slowly, tears streaming down her face. I don't want to lose you, Evan. Either of you." Evan stands, pulling his mother into a tight embrace. Over her shoulder, his eyes meet mine, filled with a mix of relief and hope. As they pull apart, I stand too. "This won't be easy," I warn. "There will be setbacks, disagreements. But if we're all committed to making it work—" "I am," Marjorie says, surprising me with her earnestness. "I am. Sorry for everything. It's not a magic fix, not by a long shot, but it's a start." As we rejoin the reception, I feel a weight lift from my shoulders. Grandpa Frank catches my eye from across the room, raising his glass in a silent toast. Aunt Maggie and Colleen are beaming, having witnessed the exchange from afar. Evan pulls me close as we make our way to the dance floor. "You were amazing," he murmurs in my ear. I smile up at him. We were amazing together. As we sway to the music, surrounded by friends and family, I realize that this is what we've been fighting for all along. Not just our wedding day, but our future. A future where we stand united, facing whatever challenges come our way. Marjorie may always be a complex figure in our lives, but now there's hope. For healing. For growth. And as I look around at the faces of those who've supported us through this journey, I know that whatever comes next, we won't face it alone. The music swells, and Evan dips me dramatically, both of us laughing. In this moment, I feel invincible. We've faced our biggest challenge and come out stronger. Whatever life throws at us next, we're ready. Together. The morning sun streams through the windows of our new home as I unpack the last of our wedding gifts. Evan wraps his arms around me from behind, planting a soft kiss on my cheek. "Can you believe it's been a month already?" he murmurs. I lean into his embrace, savoring the moment. Sometimes it feels like yesterday, other times it feels like a lifetime ago. We've settled into a comfortable routine in our new place, a modest but charming house that's all ours. No Marjorie-approved decor, no strings attached, just us, building our life together. The doorbell chimes, interrupting our rhythm. We exchange a look, knowing who it must be. Marjorie stands on our porch, a tentative smile on her face and a casserole dish in her hands. "I hope I'm not intruding," she says, her voice lacking its usual commanding tone. "Not at all," I reply, stepping aside to let her in. We were just finishing up some unpacking. As we settle around the kitchen table, I can't help but marvel at how different things are now. Marjorie's weekly visits have become part of our new normal, each one a small step toward healing old wounds. "I brought that spinach lasagna you liked from the rehearsal dinner," Marjorie says, pushing the dish toward us. Evan's face lights up. "Thanks, Mom. That's really thoughtful." The conversation flows more easily now, punctuated by moments of awkward silence that grow shorter each time. We talk about Evan's work, my latest writing project, and Marjorie's new book club. Safe topics that don't risk stirring up old tensions. As Marjorie prepares to leave, she pauses at the door. I wanted to thank you both," she says, her voice thick with emotion, "for giving me another chance, for teaching me how to be better." I feel tears prick my eyes as I reach out to squeeze her hand. "We're family," I say simply. "It's what we do." After she's gone, Evan and I curl up on the couch processing the visit. "She's really trying," Evan muses, a note of wonder in his voice. I nod, thinking of how far we've all come. It's not perfect, but it's progress. Later that evening, as we're getting ready for bed, my phone buzzes with a text from Colleen. "How'd it go with the dragon lady today?" I chuckle, showing Evan the message. "Should I tell her to ease up on the nickname?" Evan grins. "Nah, let her have this one. Mom's still got a ways to go to make up for everything." As I type out a reply, I'm struck by a wave of gratitude for the support system that got us through the toughest times. Colleen's unwavering loyalty, Aunt Maggie's wisdom, Grandpa Frank's quiet strength, they all played a part in shaping our happy ending. I set my phone aside and turned to Evan. "You know, despite everything, I wouldn't change a thing about how we got here," he raises an eyebrow. "Really? Not even the great guest list debacle?" I laugh, shaking my head. "Okay, maybe I'd tweak a few details, but all of it, the fights, the tears, the victories, it made us stronger. It showed us what we're capable of when we stand together." Evan pulls me close, his voice soft but sure. "We can handle anything life throws at us as long as we're a team." As we drift off to sleep, I think about the journey that brought us here, from the moment Marjorie tried to hijack our wedding to this peaceful night in our own home. We faced challenges that could have torn us apart. Instead, they forged us into something unbreakable. I realize now that our wedding was more than just a ceremony. It was a crucible, testing the strength of our love and conviction. We emerged not just as husband and wife, but as partners, equals, ready to face whatever comes next. The road ahead won't always be smooth. There will be disagreements, compromises, and yes, probably a few more clashes with Marjorie, but we've laid a foundation of mutual respect and unwavering support. We've learned to set boundaries, to communicate openly, and to cherish the love that brought us together in the first place. As I feel sleep pulling me under, I smile to myself. Whatever challenges tomorrow brings, I know we'll face them the same way we faced everything else, together, stronger than ever, ready to write the next chapter of our story. If there's one thing I've learned from all of this, it's that truth has a way of surfacing, no matter how deeply it's buried. People will lie, manipulate, and twist reality to fit their own agendas, but in the end, deception always unravels. If you take anything from my story, let it be this: stand your ground. Fight for what's right, even when the odds are stacked against you. Family, love, loyalty. These words mean nothing without integrity. Sometimes, the people closest to us are the ones who betray us the most, but that doesn't mean we have to let them define our future. We get to choose who we become, no matter where we come from. So, to anyone standing at a crossroads, unsure of whether to speak up or stay silent, choose truth. It might not be the easiest path, but it's the only one that leads to real freedom. Good luck, and thank you for listening to my story.